Don't press it twice. We're live, got mics.
Here we go. Hi, everybody. I'm the creator and host of Arisen Strength. We have Wayne, the hacker, the madman producer. He's with me. Wayne, how are you this evening?
Let's see if I get my mic back up, my camera back up. Hey, I'm doing great tonight, Shane. Thanks a lot for having me. We'll see how it goes. We're scrambling here to get things nailed down.
We're trying to get Crystal. Crystal has had some weather issues where she lives, where she's got some flooding going on, and she's also got her own battles with her challenges with her physical health. So we're keeping her in our thoughts, our healing thoughts and comforting thoughts, and she's trying to get in. So, we'll see how that goes. Tonight we're going to talk about autism. We talked about it on Sunday. I think we got some mixed reviews when it came to the show, and
I think it's a good thing. Right? Learn, improve, share. We can't improve unless you guys share with us what's going on. We're open to anything.
Yeah. I am hearing a big delay. It's starting all over again. Do you hear it?
I don't hear any. My sound's all turned off.
Yeah. Okay. All right. This should be interesting.
Well, turn your mic off. Yeah, we turn your speaker. Not your mic, but your.
I don't have anything on.
I don't know what's delaying. Something must be on for you to hear something. What is delaying?
Okay. Anyways, we are challenged today, but we're doing our best that we can. We try to do a few things differently in regards to the mics and everything, and we're trying to get ready for Sunday's show. That's one of the reasons why we utilize Thursday night, not only to recap the show that happened on Sunday, but also to be able to try different things in order to make Sunday's show that much better, and that's where Wayne really goes to town on trying to figure things out. So, if you happen to hear, a repeat of what it is that we said about 5 minutes ago, we're doing our best in order to try to make things better for the show overall. What it is that we talked about was autism, and we got some mixed reviews. Most of them were very good, to where we brought out awareness to the condition of autism. To make really clear is that Arisen Strength is not meant to replace the doctor. It's not meant to replace the therapist. The way that I say it is that Arisen Strength is to help support and encourage the person that they treat as the patient. And so that's what Arisen Strength is about. So when we talk about subjects such as multiple sclerosis, such as autism, such as bullying, we're talking about it from a patient's point of view. We're not talking about it all the time from a medical point of view. I do have some medical experience in regards to the medical field, but I'm not a doctor and I'm not a therapist. But I do have a lot of self-taught knowledge, as well as we all do on the panel, to where I can bring that across from a patient's point of view, being a patient myself. So so when it comes to our show, we're trying to bring out what it is that a patient goes through. What is it that they're thinking? What is it that they're feeling? What is it that what does medications mean to them, as opposed to the pick and choose which one's going to work. Because we're the ones that have to go through the side effects of all of them. So, and it's the same thing with autism. Now, I brought up the movie Rain Man. This was the first time that I heard about autism as a young boy. It was, and it happened to be when this movie came out. And one of the things that I mentioned was that it was amazing, what Raymond, also known as Rain Man, was so intelligent in that movie. He was probably more intelligent than anybody on the cast, aside from maybe the doctor that was in it. And some people got it a little bit confused. They thought that because, and I didn't really even think about it. This is my fault. Is that throughout the movie, there's a doctor that says that Raymond cannot live by himself. He's not functioning. He's not able to function by himself. And I didn't think about that. What I was thinking about was the positive. I was trying to think about, what it is that's amazing and what is exceptional about in spite of his challenges. And if anybody got confused with that, in no way do I ever think that anybody belongs in an institution. I would like nobody to be in an institution. But unfortunately, there are conditions that are out there that do require other type of alternative living areas, because, quite frankly, the family can't handle it for whatever reason. And there are some cases of autism that's the case. And that's where it gets a little bit confusing with the DSM-5 when they brought in the autistic spectrum, because autism was severe. I mean, that's what autism was back when when that movie came out, when I worked with autistic adults. It was a severe condition.
Yeah, sure. And the DSM-4, the DSM-4-TR,
yeah.
They had separated out the autism from the Asperger's.
Right.
And then maybe some other developmental type conditions. And now for the DSM-5, they brought them under one spectrum umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
It's more for consistency of diagnosis. Because sometimes we have does the person have a real severe case of Asperger's or a mild case of autism? And then you got different doctors thinking different things, and frankly, a lot of the DSM is for building purposes too. It brings everything under. There's some sort of organization, so we know what we're talking about. So they, did the work and said, okay, we got to put it all under one umbrella. So now we talk about the autism spectrum. When I say we, I mean, not necessarily. I'm not a doctor either. In any sense of the word here, like Shane, I have my experiences with the medical community. Mine is solely from a patient's point of view, but it's a substantial amount of treatment, therapy, intensive treatment over many years. Seen a lot of things, but I also like to double check on all the research. I like to read papers. I like to not just I see an interesting newspaper article. I dig down deeper. I say, well, where's the actual research paper that was driving this? And I try to take a look at that and give me a sense of really what's going on, or at least my impression of what's going on. So sometimes it may come across like I'm being a little bit more of an authority than I really am. All opinions expressed or all comments are just really, it's just Wayne Hacker sitting over here, what he thinks based on what he's seen, but with the intention of, as Shane said, not to treat a patient, but to engage with a person. And I think that's what we're doing here. Is we're trying to engage with people, and people have a lot of things going on in their lives. And I think we want to try to be as honest about that as we can. But we're going to talk about it from there's going to be some of our own personal bias, our own personal experience in there. But we're not professionals here. We're not trying to replace anybody's doctor. We're not trying to diagnose any medical conditions, and we're extremely open to suggestions, comments, education. Hey, we didn't bring you on the show, and you can educate us maybe. We're open to a lot of possibility. We got the Facebook groups and Twitter groups. Engage with us and help us, and then we come back and these shows get better. That's part of the recap show. We do a show on Sunday. We can come back here on Thursday and we can talk a little bit about what happened on Sunday and what we've learned in just a couple of days from talking to people, talking to you people.
Listen, I talked to a few on the phone. I've spent a few hours, talking to people on the phone in regards to their concerns and in regards to their accolades regarding the show. This show is is just about me, as to where I am the type of guy who gets involved more so than what I probably should. And in fact, it's called codependency, of which I have a severe case of. This happens to be a healthy way of being able to do it, So I am the type of guy that tries to look at it from an objective standpoint, and I try to bring it from the patient's point of view more so than any. So that's the idea of Arisen Strength. We are a different kind of show. We're not going to be on YouTube telling you the ins and outs or the neurological ins and outs of what autism about. Which, by the way, even the most renowned neurologists have a very difficult time doing that because autism is a very complex condition. Still, we had a good time. We got to, Joey talked about, he actually lives in Staten Island, where happens to be the institution of Willowbrook, of which was well known back in the 80s, where Geraldo Rivera did a show for 2020. He did a documentary that basically tore apart the horrible conditions and processes that were being done in that institution. It really means something to me because I actually had 4 of the patients that were from Willowbrook I actually worked with personally. And so I got to know what the conditions and the treatments that in there really left the person. And so, it was something that I can go talking about in respect to the people who I personally know and have worked with. Joey happens to live there 10 minutes away, and so he was able to give us some insight as to what that building is about now, as to where they go out of their way in order to collect a fundraising for autism in that area, which I think is great. I still have a bad taste in my mouth when it comes to Willowbrook because I know what it did and to those people, and so but I wanted to bring it up. Then we got to start talking about our celebrations, and I mean, I built it up in the beginning. If you saw the show, you did not want to miss what we had in store for celebrations. We talked about a local bakery here in Schenectady, New York, called Puzzles, which is really great. It's a great idea, something simple and to the point, because autism awareness, the logo is a puzzle piece. And in some cases many puzzle pieces together, and some are not together. But the to call it Puzzles was a great idea, and the reason why it was so great was because the owner of this bakery has a sister who has severe autism, and she knows what it's like as a sister, a supporter, or a caregiver of autism, to where she loves her sister greatly, and she wanted to turn it around, making that challenge into something positive. And I couldn't think of anything more Arisen Strength like. I mean, it was like really to take that challenge and to make it into something so great. And the reason why it's so great is because they go out of their way to employ autistic adults to work at the bakery, whether it be cashier or dishes or waitress or whatever the case may be. They have 20 spots for employees, and she's trying to fill at least 10, if not more, that are autistic and or other mental disorders, that that are able to function within that realm. So I thought that was really cool. What'd you think?
Yeah, I thought it was really good, and I guess we have to be careful. Maybe mental disorder, maybe with language. Some people are very. I mean, people are very sensitive with the language, and learning disabilities. And people who are people with some functional limitations. Frankly, we have to admit that they exist, and puzzles must reach out to those people and say, hey, here's a place for you to come. And one of the other things I thought I liked about it was that they were kind of I know what you call it, an anxiety dog, but a service dog. They're going to have a dog there.
My aunt.
For the employees, it'd be a very calm and relaxing place. It looked like it was a Labrador Retriever.
There was a number of them. There was a whole bunch of them. There was Labradors, there was Aussies, there were my aunt's dog is what is it? She's gonna kill me. Russell Terrier. Yeah. So a whole bunch of different dogs in order to be able to help the employees to be able to function and to lose their anxiety a little bit.
And then we had another celebration that was close to here, but not quite here, but Rochester, a couple hours down the interstate with Jason McElwain. Young man, was just well known, liked in his school. What they call it, a sports manager for the basketball team, and they got him in that last couple minutes of the basketball scoreboard. We're draining down threes. And I think maybe ESPN. It was just, it was a wonderful story. But it wasn't just 1, 2. I mean, the guy drained like 20 points in the last couple of minutes of the game.
He drained 20 points in the last 4 minutes of the game, and there are 2 teams on the court at all times. So and that means there's 10 kids that are out on that court, and he scored 20 points in the last 4 minutes, and I mean, some pros.
And not a dry eye in the house.
Oh, it was insane. It was
celebration afterwards.
The first of all, when he wasn't even told that he was going to play, he was told to dress because it was one of the last games that he was going to be in. And he's a very, very enthusiastic individual, and he's very demanding. He actually runs the practices. He's not just like a figurehead. He runs the practices. He tells them, do this, do that, get hyped, let's go. And he's really, really inspiration. So he comes in and he's got his uniform on, he's got a headband on and everything. He's all ready to go. But he doesn't plan on playing. He just planned on helping out with the pregame, and making a couple layups and everything like that. The coach didn't even tell him he was going to play. So then all of a sudden, here it is. It's like 5 minutes to go in the game, and the coach gets up and points to Jason, and next thing you know, get in there. And Jason got up, and the crowd went nuts. They didn't think that he was going to play. They just wanted to see him dress. It's sort of like a Rudy thing,
Yeah.
So he gets out on that court, and he throws up an air ball the first time, and he'll even tell you that he wasn't even close to making that shot. The second time he hit the backboard, so he was getting better. And everybody was having a good time with it, even though that he missed, and everybody would have been fine with that. Well, then all of a sudden he hits not a layup, not a mid-range shot. He hits this bomb that's a three-pointer that made the net snap and go up. And it was hit perfect. And the crowd just went nuts. It just went absolutely crazy. And here it is. Everybody's happy and glowing. It's like he hit a three-pointer. It's a perfect way to end the day. Well, guess what? He hit 6 3-pointers in 4 minutes in the game. He hit 6 3-pointers. He scored 20 points. Each one was more dramatic. Each one had the crowd going more off the bleachers. And finally, when he hit the last one, which was at the last second of the game, everybody rushed the court and picked him up and put him on their shoulders. And it was just really inspirational. And So that's again, that's what Arisen strength is all about. Yes, I have autism. Guess what? Watch me. You know what I mean? He really utilized. One of the things about autism is that there's extreme patterns. Well, guess what? He was in a pattern. You know what I mean? He was in a 3-point pattern. He just kept on hitting it and hitting it. Look, I played ball for a while. It's like making 6 in a row is hard. Much less he didn't do it in the same spot every time. He was all over the court and he was draining them. So I mean, his pattern was on point, and it was really, really, really cool to watch.
Then the other celebration was
Carly.
Yeah. Beautiful story, young girl. I think it was another ABC story. We showed some of the video last week. We couldn't bring you the audio. The audio, of course, is available.
We're working
on YouTube.
Yeah.
I think there's probably some copyright things probably going on too. But we able to see some of this video, and one thing I really liked about it, and it brought up an important point I thought for. She was using the computer to communicate. She was, she struggled with communication, and a lot of people on the autism spectrum, they sort of struggle with some social interaction, communication, expressing themselves clearly. To the point, some of them, it's very, very difficult to get almost any words out. And Carly was about that end of the spectrum. She could basically just use her emotions to communicate, and most of her emotions were frustration because her inability to communicate. And it was really the keyboard kind of opened up with the computer, and she was able to, use the keys to get the words out that that she needed to get out, and it was a great story for that, and it made me think a lot of these facilitated communication stories, and I took the time out then. I'd like to take time out now just to make mention. There's a lot of these stories you see where a person will be using this what's called facilitated communication, where somebody guides their hand to all the button pushes or and it turns out that all of those, every single one of them, can't be verified. The person is actually communicating, that it's not something just because somebody just wants so much for the other person to communicate, and it's almost like a Ouija board type thing. There's just involuntary responses going on. And maybe in some cases some actual fraud, but they've never been able to find one of these cases that holds up to that yes, it's the person's actually communicating when they tested it. But in cases like this, where she's the one with the button pushing, then that this is verifiable. This is easy, and it just her world changed. And
she was this close.
Yeah.
She was this close to going into an institution.
Yeah.
I mean, this close, because she was getting worse and worse. She's had autism since she was 4 years old. As she grew older, she would have outbursts that would be more uncontrollable, and it was to the point as to where the family just didn't know what to do. You just don't know what to do, and not only that, but is it safer? Is it a better life for her to be around others that are like her? That's the questions that start coming into the mind. It's like, are we holding her back from her having at least the most quality that she can have by being around others like her? And and that's what the questions were going on, and they made the call, to the institution, and she, to go into the institution, and she saw a keyboard, and she went up to that keyboard, and the first thing that she typed was hurt. The next thing she typed was help. And it was like, wait a minute now. You know what I mean? She's not just going A, Z, K, J, O. She's spelling out what it is that she's saying, and she's figuring it out. So then they said, okay, well, let's give her the keyboard. Next thing she's telling them. It's like she made it. She made a point of saying that it felt like if you took a soda bottle and you had your thumb on the top and you shook it, all the carbonation that's about ready to explode, she felt that way. She literally felt physically like that, to where her skin was like burning, like a pins and needles type of thing. and she felt like she wanted to just, and that's why she would outburst like she would. Plus, I also made the point, again, from a patient's point of view, I'm the king of analogies, let me tell you. I said, look, you go ahead, you take some duct tape, and you put it on my mouth, and then you tie my hands behind my back. I am going to act a certain way,
And it's likely to get worse over time.
It definitely will get worse over time,
especially when we measure that time in years.
Yeah.
So of course she was getting, and it's, we have to try and with all people, communication is so important, and we have to make every effort to try and communicate with people, and not on our own terms, but on their terms. When you're trying to communicate with somebody, a big part of communicating is listening, and part of listening is letting the other person speak, let them speak, but in whatever way they can speak. And sometimes it is just as simple as giving somebody a keyboard and letting them press keys. It could be touch screen with pictures. There's lots of ways to sort of start tapping into what's going on inside of somebody, because we all desperately want to get what's going on inside of us. We want to get that out. We want to connect with other people, and when we can't, it can be incredibly frustrating. And it's just no doubt that she was frustrated, but
And that's where Arisen Strength comes in, is because that's part of the support.
Yeah.
Part of the support that Arisen Strength is built on support, empowerment, or encouragement, and then at the end we celebrate. Okay? Part of the support is acknowledging that there's a problem, that you have something going on. Whether anybody believes it or not, I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't care if the next door neighbor believes whether or not that you have chronic pain. I don't care if your family believes that you have chronic pain. If you are part of the audience of Arisen Strength, automatically understand this. I believe you have chronic pain. You know what I mean? And so we acknowledge and we advocate while justifying, or what's the word that I'm looking like? We validate them. You know what I mean? We validate the fact that they feel the way that they feel.
Right. That's a big part of supporting is the validation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the advocacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the empowerment. It's giving you the tools that you need, making sure that the tools are available that you need so that you can do it. So in this case, it was giving Carly the keyboard. Once she has the keyboard, people can back off. Say, hey, we supported you. Now we're going to empower you. Here's the keyboard. We've got something here, and then making sure that she has access to those tools, and then letting her do it. Well, that's just, is there anything more beautiful than that?
Really, and that's another thing about Arisen Strength, and I said it from the very beginning, and people looked at me like I had 3 different heads, because it's like, wait a minute, we're talking about these serious conditions and everything, and I said, guess what? It's not going to take very much work from me. In you. You have it within you. It's your dream. It's your talent. It's your capability that's there. It's not mine. I have my own, but you have yours. It's just that it's been suppressed for whatever damn reason, whether it be illness, injury, or experience. It's been suppressed to where it's either a distant memory or it's totally forgotten. And so that's when I said it's not going to take a whole lot of work from me. I mean, it's in order to empower you, because you have it. You already have it. And just like Jason McElwain, he had it. You know what I mean? He had the knowledge of the game. He had the excitement of the game. He had the enthusiasm.
He just needed a coach to get him on the court.
He just needed that help.
And stand back.
Nudge.
You need the empowerment.
Right.
And that's a big part. And then once we put those together with a little bit of support, with a little bit of empowerment, then we get to that third part where we get to sit back and we get to celebrate.
And we enjoy the celebration. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's another thing. I'm glad you said that, because that's another thing about Arisen Strength. And really, I'm not trying to be promoting here, but I'm trying to get the focus of what Arisen Strength really is. The idea of the celebration is because let's say that Jason was suppressed from his autism, he wouldn't have had the opportunity to be on that court nor have that experience. His coach wouldn't have had that opportunity in order to watch that experience. The audience wouldn't have had the opportunity in order to watch that experience and be part of the celebration during the time. You know what I mean? Same thing with Carly. Carly sits here, you give her a keyboard, next thing you know, she's writing a book. She's literally writing a book telling people, listen, I know how I feel, how do you feel type of thing. And her parents wouldn't have had that. You know what I mean? And it's like, and this is where we're coming full circle with this show, is that Arisen Strength is not just for those who suffer or not suffer, who struggle and challenge with the conditions that they have. It's also for those who support or caregive for those individuals. That's, I really am trying to get it out there as to where we're a full community here. It's not just one little niche, that's why we're going to talk about autism from a caregiver's point of view on Sunday night. We're going to talk about it a little bit more. There's some things that we didn't get to, you know what I mean? And another thing I want to bring out too, there is not one subject, there is not one illness, not one condition, okay, that can be summed up in one show. There's just not. So from my point of view, we're going to go over these things over and over as many times as we want, because that is a given. I don't believe that we can sit there and we can cover everything about multiple sclerosis in one show. I don't think that we can cover autism in one show. A neurologist can't cover autism in one show. You know what I mean? So, so the idea of for this Sunday is going to be from a supporter's point of view, from a caregiver's point of view, whether it be parents, whether it be brothers and sisters, whether it be children, of those who are struggling, friends, whatever the case may be, where we're going to talk about early warning signs to look out for children. There are definitely some early warning signs, and it definitely does help in order to get help as early as possible to be able to keep the functioning working the way that it can, as best as it can. Crystal is working feverishly, trying to, work with Autism Speaks, which is a supporters group, to where they're going to give us some information. We have some other people who are very familiar with autism, and they've given us some ideas and so forth. So, Sunday's show is going to be from that standpoint, and I have no doubt we're going to have our good time. We're going to enjoy just as much as what we did last Sunday. I don't know what it is, just and if I did, I wouldn't tell you. But again, we're going to talk about from a supporter's point of view. We're going to talk about from those people who are there, and sometimes it's more frustrating for them to watch their friend, their daughter, their son, their parent go through what they go through. Because it's so frustrating. Because and I could say this personally. I had somebody who I care for greatly who has MS. I couldn't help him, and obviously I like to help people. When you feel like your hands are tied behind your back, and everything's going wrong, that's hard. That's hard to take, and they need acknowledgement. They need validation, for what it is that they're feeling too, and so that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to get it outside of just the person who's struggling and who's challenged. We're going to try to get it outside of that in order to bring a new vision for supporters to Arisen Strength.
Well, it's Arisen Strength is for everybody.
It really is.
And I do love the three pillars because it reminds you it's not just the what but the how. I mean, there's Arisen Strength. Okay, well, how am I going to do that? Well, I can be doing supporting, I can be doing empowering, and then I can take the time and do the celebration. To acknowledge somebody else's hard work and accomplishment. It's the easiest thing in the world to do, really, to acknowledge somebody else's accomplishment. It just takes me to just slow down for a second, forget about myself for a second, and to think of the other person and to let them know, say, hey, you did a great job, or to let somebody else know, hey, Shane did a great job, or hey, Crystal did a great job, hey, Jason, and Carly, they did a great job, and just in life, we can all use that. Arisen Strength is not only for people who have the worst case of autism.
No.
Arisen Strength is for everyone, and it's about that it's about finding it inside of you. It's about finding it inside somebody else. It's about supporting. It's about empowering, and it's about celebrating.
And it's about humanity. It's that human aspect. I mean, it's just something different. It makes, you can see me. It's like my shoulders start moving. It's like it gives you that energy. You just want to feel it, and that's what I want. I mean, I want this show to really bring that to people, because I put it up today in a picture on my timeline. Once you feel the Arisen Strength within you, you will have a heart of a lion. And that, what that means is nothing will stop you. You know what I mean? It's like things will trip you up. You will still have issues. You will still have challenges, but nothing will stop you. And that's what Arisen Strength is about. And I'm really looking forward to Sunday.
All right. In the meantime, how can people get hold of us? And
well, we have a number of ways that people contact me, and they're using them. If you want to get us by email, if talk to us about your particular challenge or struggle, you can contact us at arisenstrength@gmail.com. It's Arisen Strength, just one word. Then if you're on Twitter, we're on Twitter. We're not 100% there yet, but we're focusing better now, and we're going to get there. So we have a page there, which is Arisen Strength, all one word, at Arisen Strength. If you want to tweet to us from your page, you just use the hashtag Arisen Strength, all in one word. And then we have our two pages on Facebook. We have our page, of which is what we started out with, which is Arisen Strength. But then we evolved, and we have a group now that we have over 340 members, in a short period of time. And I think of them, when I've talked to many of them. Like I said, I talked to a number of people over the phone. I mean, I didn't just email them, or I didn't just direct message them. I asked them if I could call their house, and in order to be able to understand what it is that they were thinking, feeling about the show. So we have the Facebook group, which is the Arisen Strength family, and I think that's kind of cool just to separate it.
All right.
So,
and I was wondering if I had any kind of closing thoughts when you were saying about those things.
Oh, I got to say one thing. Aunt Sherry, I know you have a dog, and it's a Jack Russell Terrier. I get it. I understand.
Well, I was going to say is, the feedback is important, and you said, as the page grew, we went from Arisen Strength to the Arisen Strength family. We have both still, because that's all part of, at least my personal program of learn, improve, share, and it's the message I bring to Shane. He has this support, encourage, celebrate, and then I yell back at him, learn, improve, share. But we're all about improving here, and part of that improvement comes from the feedback that we get from you guys. I mean, the second part of it is performance feedback, revision. We do something, we have a performance, we get that feedback from you. Absolutely. And then there's some revision, and we're willing to change anything that we're doing. but we don't know what we're doing unless you tell us. You know, we're doing what we think is what we feel in our hearts is the right thing.
Yeah.
But I'll admit, you know, I could be stepping on people's toes and not realize it, and I apologize for that, and I'd like to change that. I don't. If I step on your toes, I want to make sure I'm doing it on purpose. You know, nothing worse than accidentally stepping on somebody's toes. So we're all about learn, improve, and share, and we need the feedback here. You know, that really does help. We've been getting a lot of great feedback, and I think we're making some little changes. And you know, as we go along here, we're gonna tighten this ship up. And
we are doing that. We're focusing. Arisen Strength is becoming very unified. You know, we're getting involved in some areas that we want to be, and we're planning on getting involved in other areas. You know, we're going to have some announcements coming up, but more importantly, we're focusing on what will make this show and this concept that much better for others. And you know, so it's going to be fun. You know, the summer's coming up, you know, and you know, we're going to have a good old time, I'm telling you now.
So Sunday night we have the supporters show.
Yeah.
I think everybody needs to take care. And what do you have? Closing thoughts, Shane?
You know, I just want to say thank you for everybody who did get in contact with me in regards to the show on Sunday. You know, I love you all to death. And aside from that, I just want to let everybody know this is from a patient's point of view. So I know how it is that you think, feel, and you know, and wish. And so I know how you feel, and I'm here to help. Good night, everybody.